Prices in focus. We're going to see some GST impact. You've seen that from others in this category already. Thank you for that, Mahima. Abneesh Roy joining in. He's Executive Director Research at Nuvama Institutional Equities. Abneesh, what's on your list? And also the fact that you have Priya Nair, who is going to be presenting at this quarterly results for HUL.
Yeah, hi, good morning. So the sector results started last week with Nestle, and it was a very good performance by Nestle. We should not extrapolate Nestle's strong results to other FMCG companies in this quarter. Nestle was an outlier, maybe because better execution, and generally food products have a higher velocity, so the GST transition impact was much lower. The new MD of Nestle, Mr. Manish Tiwari, he is a hard taskmaster. His Amazon experience clearly helping Nestle ramp up on the e-commerce, quick commerce. So coming to today's results, HUL and Colgate, it's a GST impact, so we should not see today's weak numbers as a slowdown. In Q1, if you remember, HUL had seen a good recovery in terms of the volumes and the underlying trends. That has continued, and we expect that in October, mid-October, that should come back. There should be some level of restocking in Q3, which was a problem in Q2 because of the GST. The destocking happened. We expect in Q3 some level of restocking. So it's a good buying opportunity in HUL. Our sense is clearly HUL will see reasonable volume recovery in H2. And Q2 miss should be a buying opportunity. Yes, Priya Nair is very aggressive, very hardcore India experience. And her turnaround of the detergent business is something which will help in the beauty business, because beauty business is a pain point for HUL and it is under-indexed in terms of the premiumization versus other categories. We expect Priya Nair to focus on ramping up beauty business, including the acquisition of Minimalist, which will help in this recovery in the beauty business. The tea cost is soft, so that again should be positive for HUL starting in Q3. So overall, we are positive on HUL. Colgate will be a bit concerned on the GST inverted duty structure. So in Q3, you will see Colgate see margin pressure because most of the raw material for Colgate is at 18%. For HUL also, some bit of the raw material is at 18%, but overall for HUL, the impact of inverted duty structure will be much lower because only 40% of the products of HUL have seen a rate cut. While for Colgate, almost entire company, the end product is at 5% in terms of GST rate, but most of the raw material is at 18%. So Colgate will see margin pressure in Q3 because of this. So we'll be more positive on HUL from a outlook perspective.
Abneesh, just the question, I mean, is there something in the results that you would take a cue from for your outlook ahead, or will it largely be around what they have to say about Q4 or Q3 more importantly?
No, not at all. Every quarter results is important. So we'll see three numbers here if company will share that in the call. That pre-September 6, how was the first, around 65 days, what was the growth? Because the GST impact of the destocking started from September 6 for the entire sector. So what was the underlying trends there? Because that will be the real barometer of how the growth metrics are. Second, we'll need to see how the raw material of tea, coffee, etc. are there, because next 1 year, that is something which will impact the overall company. Third will be what will be the strategy and how was the growth in Minimalist, because that is something which will shape up the fight against D2C, where I think beauty business has been a pain point for HUL. What is the strategy? What is the numbers in terms of Minimalist, etc.? We expect Minimalist to do well, and that will be the third thing we'll look out for.
Got it. Okay, so that's for HUL. Now, broadly, Abneesh, for any and almost all of these staple names, because the street is so dispersed and bent towards discretionary consumption, does the positioning and the valuation, relative valuation of the staple companies give people a chance to make money if indeed the numbers or the commentary is positive versus the discretionary names?
So three things. One is Nestle result is a testament of that. We saw much better than expectation versus street and ours versus Nestle's performance. So yes, when things are going right for the sector in terms of food inflation, general inflation, interest rate cuts have happened. We expect more of that. The final positive was obviously on the GST rate. Prior to that, the income tax rebates, etc., happened. Monsoon has been good. So yes, things are improving, and that's why when FI flows are also expected to improve January starting, and already there is some level of the FI inflow. My sense is such a large cap sector, defensive sector, high corporate governance, low debt, etc. I think that will make the sector really re-rate going ahead, because outlook is improving, and Nestle stock, Britannia stock are near all-time high. So it is not that stocks have not done well. We'll be more positive on food companies because GST rate cut, etc., benefits more. So Nestle, Britannia, Bikaji will be more positive. We are also positive on HUL and United Spirits from a valuation comfort perspective. But in the cola category, we will be underweight because competition is ramping up from Campa Cola. And in Q3 also, the winter is expected to be harsh. So we will not be positive across the names. But these food companies, HUL and United Spirits, Pidilite, etc., look quite good from a re-rating perspective and business recovery perspective also.
Okay, it's interesting, Abneesh, you talked about Manish Tiwari a short while ago. Priya Nair will be taking this analyst meet and press conference from HUL. So you have already a fresh lease of life in two of the largest FMCG companies in India. And of course, Priya Nair is the first woman CEO at HUL. She joined in 1995, has had sales and marketing roles across home care, beauty and personal care, and was appointed to the company's board to lead the BPC, that's the beauty and personal care segment as well. Abneesh, just in terms of how crucial it is, because you mentioned it in passing, but both with Manish Tiwari at Nestle and Priya Nair at HUL, how are you looking at this new blood coming in at the top in very storied companies which move at a certain pace? Why do you think this will make a difference?
A good question. In fact, currently we are seeing 4 or 5 companies see the leadership change. Sudhanshu was took over Pidilite recently as the MD from Mr. Bharat Puri. Similarly, in United Spirits, we have seen the change from Hina to Pradeep. So yes, the sector is seeing this common trend, and we are seeing definitely in Nestle. The Amazon experience which Manish Tiwari brought to the table, I think clearly Nestle will improve in quick commerce, e-commerce. If you see, Nestle is a bit under-indexed versus some of the other companies. It could be because categories are different, but definitely Amazon's experience helps, and that's why we saw for the first time Nestle appointed someone from outside as the MD of the company. Generally, Nestle in the last many years has always had a homegrown person within Nestle appointed as the MD. So that was a marked change, and my sense is clearly the e-commerce, quick commerce experience is something which he brings to the table, and that's a positive. Similarly, in case of Priya, we have seen that she has been a turnaround person in terms of the detergent business. She was under the leadership of Mr. Sanjeev Mehta, who did exceedingly well as the MD for 10 years. The market cap of HUL went up 4x. The EBITDA margins improved by 900 bips. So she has had a extremely good track record on her own, and under the leadership of Mr. Sanjeev Mehta, very good experience she has gained. Plus, if you see in terms of beauty business, again, she spent a lot of time in the last 4 or 5 years at the headquarter handling the beauty business. So that again helps in a more M&A in D2C. I would expect HUL to ramp up on more acquisitions in the D2C space. Minimalist is one of them, already happened, doing quite well. I expect more to happen. So yes, definitely these two leadership bringing more to the table, ramping up on the India experience in case of HUL, for example, and more aggression clearly in both cases. So yes, that's something which we are quite positive.
Abneesh, if I were to ask you that if you club everything under your coverage on the consumption side, right? Because you must be covering multiple things, some of which I don't even have a handle on, right? Where would you be the most constructive on, supposing that the hypothesis that you've laid out for the Q2 results turns out to the T?
I think it's difficult to point out one stock because rural recovery is happening, urban is also starting. Every company will benefit. GST rate cut also, if you see, has happened for all categories, all companies. So to that extent, that's also common. So difficult to point out, but from a valuation comfort perspective, HUL stands out. United Spirits also, the Maharashtra tax hike is fully factored in. UK FTA kicks in FY27. So I will say from a valuation comfort, HUL and United Spirits stand out. From a growth perspective, compounding growth, higher growth, I think Pidilite, Britannia, Nestle are the three names. I will not point out one name because these companies don't compete with each other. So it is not that one company is gaining at the expense of other. Valuation comfort also, unfortunately, in Pidilite, Britannia, Nestle is not really very high. But these are compounding stories. So investors has to take what fits in his style of investing. So both categories look good. Valuation comfort and re-rating, United Spirits and HUL. Compounding, I think Pidilite, Nestle, Britannia.
Top pick in the space?
It's the same question. So yeah, I will say Britannia. I have to pick one stock, Britannia. But as I said, that's not how I look at it. Both these 5 companies will see that benefit.
I mean, our viewers understand that as well. All things being equal, Britannia is your top pick. Sorry, we have to sometimes needle Abneesh to get the clear answer.
I want to add color there. No, it's a good question. See, Britannia, why I'm more positive? The results will come out. I'm not positive because of Q2 results. Q2 again, Britannia will also see the GST impact. It's from a structural perspective. If you see, Biscuit has seen the very high GST rate cut from 18% to 5%. Second is Biscuit customer buys a pack. He doesn't buy 100 gram or 200 gram. He buys a 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 20 rupee pack for most of the cases. 60% of the cases he buys a 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 20 rupee pack. So what happens is that 12%, 13% extra grammage is a great benefit which I think biscuit companies are going to get. That's why in H2 and FY27 you'll see that benefit. From a raw material, again, nothing much to be concerned about. Palm oil, wheat, etc., sugar, milk are all broadly range bound. So I will expect Britannia to gain market share. The sector will see double-digit kind of volume growth coming back in H2 and maybe FY27 first half. So that is something which I wanted to highlight for Britannia.
Okay. Fair enough, Abneesh. And thank you for opening up and speaking with us. Our purpose here always to bring the most value for our viewers and listeners. And of course, we work for your profit. The other story that we're tracking on, of course, is the trade.